Hi and welcome to a slightly different AFK show. My name is Nina, but everyone calls me Pixie. And welcome to another episode of AFK. So today my host is from America, so we will be speaking in English. Hello Nathan and welcome to our show. Happy to have you here.
Great to be here.
Yeah. So you kind of traveled from, America to Europe and, you're living in Croatia. But before we start about your current work and your current achievements here, what kind of gamer are you? Like straight on the point, do you game? What are your favorite games?
Yeah.
Do you play them, even though?
Yeah, I mean, I used to play a lot of games. I used to start, I make games for a living and I teach level design, so I definitely play a lot of games. Mostly these days I play a lot of Kaizo, so I will talk a little bit about that, but I play lots of hard platformers, things like that. So I'm really into kind of competitive, difficult games, things like that. Yeah. Yeah,
well, my knowledge about, the platforms and that kind of genre is mostly with the, the older ones, but for now, for example, should we call Hollow Knight a platformer? Since it's a really popular indie game, or are you acquainted with that? And do you have some?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like Shovel Knight, Cuphead, all those games, definitely. And even things like really obscure stuff like Boshi and again Kaizo. Those kind of games are definitely my thing.
Did it all start with what, Super Mario, or were there games before it that you kind of remember when you played as a younger person?
Oh yeah,
young.
yeah. So when I started playing games, I guess I started playing. Despite the fact that I'm too young to be someone who grew up on a Super Nintendo, I am someone who grew up on a Super Nintendo. My parents hand-me-downed an NES to me. And then when we would go on vacations in the summer, I would play on the NES and then the Super Nintendo when we were in the summer. And my favorite game ever always was Super Mario World. So I've been playing Super Mario World. I basically knew I wanted to be a game designer because of that game. I would draw pictures of it when I was little. I would make like little levels and draw them out on paper and stuff. And that was kind of how I started to get into gaming. So. All of the old school, Star Tropics, Shinobi, those kind of games.
You kind of stuck with your heart.
Stuck with me when I was really little, and I've been drawing levels and platformers and things like that for going on 20-something years. So
that's a lot. That's a lot of years. I mean, you finished high school, then college. What did you major in, math or something else?
Yeah. So I went to UC Santa Cruz, which is a school which has a game design program, a pretty well-established game development program. And I was making games way before that. I was actually modding Serious Sam, of all games. And I was doing stuff in Unreal Tournament. And then also to a lesser extent, but more and more throughout the years, Mario modding. So I'm very involved in the modding scene.
What was it like, for the availability? Because American creation gamers or game rooms, LAN parties or stuff. What was it like there for, especially those kind of, I think they're called right now, vintage games, retro games, older games?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's really, I think that it's kind of a mistake to categorize games in terms of new or old. It's really just in terms of the aesthetics that they're trying to, convey and like what you're getting out of them. So, with a lot of those older games, especially things like, NES, SNES games, it's really more about the challenge. It's really more about like, the satisfaction of finding out what's in the next level. Than it is about kind of necessarily role-playing or something like that. So I'm not really sure what people mean when they talk about vintage games. Sometimes they just mean pixel art aesthetic, but I think that the typical categorization that most people in my scene really associate with it is more just the why you're playing the game in the first place, which is more like the challenge in the community of trying to get together and like make difficult things and play them.
So did that help you out right now? So you're currently a lecturer and a teacher at Algebri in Zagreb. And what is that you do there?
Well, going back to the Santa Cruz thing, you know, I was making games there, and I was only through happenstance that I found out that I was going to be, you know, doing math stuff. So I ended up getting really interested in mathematics, and I did like a pure mathematics kind of degree and things like that, and computer science. The way that I got into algebra was I came here and I liked Croatia a lot, but you know,
was it the food or people?
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily like, you know, it wasn't necessarily like a place that you would stay, because it's like, you know, it's not sure, you know, in any foreign country, you know, securing a job, securing a visa, things like that. The reason that I ended up staying really was because Algebra was forming a new game development program. So being a person who's involved in Kaizo and things like that, that part of the community, I was very happy to get in on the ground floor. So what I'm doing at Algebra is first and foremost, I teach the math to the graduate students, and I'm helping design some of those core curriculums. I teach programming, but the thing that I'm really getting on the ground floor in is the game development. And I'm very excited to work with Goran Dambic, who's the head of the game development department there. And it's really fun working with him, trying to basically make a competitive game program that does things according to kind of the traditional level design and game development sensibilities that I've been taught. So things like game feel, mechanics, dynamics, aesthetics, that kind of stuff, theory of fun, that kind of sort of indie look at the way that games work is really appealing, and getting to do that with Goran and actually build something like that is why I'm here, because there's no job like that available in the States. Everything's established. It's getting to build something new here is really cool.
Yeah, there's quite of a year gap and difference that we kind of in Croatia are a smaller, I mean younger game dev community. Do you speak to other game devs in Croatia or throughout the world, or what was it like for you and your community? Are you building up your community, friends, acquaintances, colleagues?
Right, so I'm mostly involved in like the modding community. That's kind of where I got my start. You know, I did go to a game development school, so I have a couple of games under my belt that are not modded games. You know, I made a room scale VR game, for example. I made some other things. I made, I mean, I can't really talk about all of the things that I've made.
But you made stuff.
But I've made my fair share of stuff. But my community has always been Kaizo.
So for our viewers, I think that Kaizo is not quite popular in Croatia. That's what, a hard, challenging type of, you know, playing throughout what, Super Mario games or other games?
Yeah. So yeah, it's there's a lot of people who will argue about what actually the definition of Kaizo is. There's people who've written like long things on it. It really started with just me and a couple of friends. You know, it started with T. Takamoto, you know, he created this mysterious person who created the original Kaizo Mario World. Nobody really knows who it is. It's a pseudonym or something. Nobody really knows. But
he exists.
He exists. He made these games, and basically these mods blew up. There's a very long history of basically modding Mario games, and since the very beginning, long before Mario Maker, back like, you know, even like 2003 earlier, you know, people love Mario, and you know, it captures people's imagination. Like, what's the hardest level that you can make? And it sort of created this sort of scene that it's almost like skateboarding. Like I'm a surfer and a snowboarder and like to a lesser extent a skateboarder. There's kind of an analogous scene that is what Kaizo is. It's like this thing where you go and you make levels,
okay,
right? And then you make these obstacles, and it's kind of this open, free-form thing. It's more of a creative thing than it is actually playing. It's like you're getting better at playing because you're making things harder for yourself, and you like come up with this cool trick, and then everybody learns that trick and they make a bunch of like variants of it, and then you learn all of those variants, and so it's this kind of collaborative thing, and it's snowballed completely out of control. I mean, you know, it started with things like master courses and VIP. I'm gonna shout out, if I can shout out some things. So shout out to Michael Nguyen, shout out to master courses, shout out to VIP, shout out to, you know, Molotov, Mario World, Pit of Despair, all those people. And it's snowballed into, you know, something that, you know, if you go on Twitch on any given day, I mean, Pangea Panga, Grand Pooh Bear, any of these people are massive Kaizo people.
I could only speak about, you know, the Pokemon community with those super hard challenges and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's not the same as Super Mario Kaizo, right?
Well, yeah. So the thing that's so cool about Kaizo, yeah. Oh, the thing that's so cool about Kaizo is that it's like, it really is. It's as much of a game development scene as it is a game playing scene, and the result of this. Kaizo is what happens when you remove the conceit that you have to teach the player what to do. It's basically just how far can we push this game past where it was intended to be, and the spectacle and the flow of that is unlike anything else. So when I say that I'm a gamer, it's important to understand I basically only play Kaizo. So it exists in other games. There's Mega Man Kaizo, there's different Kaizos for different Marios. There's, I would argue, indie games that are Kaizo. I would argue that all of Terry Cavannagh's games are basically Kaizo.
But this is your specific part that, you know,
yeah,
makes your blood
yeah,
boil
this
and
makes
happy.
this is my lifeblood, and there's a whole community of us that basically do this nonstop. We do races every Saturday. Shout outs to RomHack Races. You can download the patches and play the levels, and then you basically, it's unlike any other esport. In other esports, when you play, you're just limited to the maps that you've learned. You know, if you're a Quake player, you know, you're just going to learn Aerowalk. You're going to spend all day on Aerowalk, and that's what you're going to do. You're going to learn every possible thing that can happen on that match. You know, if you play a fighting game, you're going to have to learn every possible, you know, thing. When you're playing this stuff, you go into the thing, and the tournament is nobody's ever seen this level before, and you're faced with a situation, hopefully, that you've never seen before. And so it's like it's the purest form of
you know, the darkest parts of the ocean, you know, something's
It's the darkest part of the ocean, exactly, yeah.
But it's exciting,
right? It's exciting because it's not even a matter of competition at that point. I really liken it to like a snowboard scene or a skate scene, like freestyle snowboarding or that kind of stuff, where you find these structures, you find these interesting things, and you find the tricks that you can do off of them, and then you share them with people.
Yeah, I used to watch, you know, half-pipe tournaments, so it kind of stuck with me. But what about the creation community? Did you find out about people who do and play the Kaizo games, or are you making your own? Are you spreading your influence here?
So yeah, I'm basically here to spread Kaizo. I'm a Kaizo evangelist. That's my role here. So the thing I find, you know, it's very popular in Croatia. What I've found is people really like things like World of Tanks. They really like kind of like war games, strategy games, especially kind of like team-based, you know, survival. Scum is also obviously very big.
Yep.
That kind of stuff. So it's been fun getting people into that, and also just getting people into kind of the theoretical formats that I've learned, because I'm not really, when I teach games, at least at Algebra, I'm obviously not shoehorning people into my tastes, right? That would be wrong. But what I am teaching them is not to think in terms of genres. So I'm teaching them to think in terms of, one, how do you want why is this person playing your game? What is the need that it's fulfilling? Are they role playing? Is it a community thing? Is it the challenge? Is it the spectacle? Is it, you know, Is it like Peggle and it's just a bunch of juice just exploding in your face? Like all of these things, right, could be different things that you would want. And it's like the ability to work backwards from that. I think that one of the things that I find about Croatia, and I don't mean to diminish in any way because it's a very useful way of making things also, is that Croatia is really hard on tech. They're really heavy on tech. What's the next big tech thing? And, you know, Crow Team, for example, does a fantastic job of pushing the envelope of like what's possible with a game engine. And it seems like all of their ideas kind of flow right? from the technology. And what I am trying to bring to the table as kind of the indie in the Algebra program is going in the opposite direction. I'm trying to take you from the feeling that you have the feeling you want to have when you're playing a game, trying to figure out what's the meta that would result in that, and then trying to figure out, okay, well then what's the rules that makes that meta happen? That's what I'm trying to teach, and that's kind of what a lot of the Kaizo people have started to think about in terms of gaming also. There's been kind of a realization, I don't mean to fixate on this topic, but there's kind of been a realization, I think also just in the indie community in general, at least in the circles that I'm around, that gaming is communication, and so it's no different than any other art form in the sense. It's a
narrative media too.
It's a form of media, and it's a communication mechanism. It's input, output. It's just that the other thing is a computer. It's a communication mechanism. And so the thing that makes a game good versus bad, really, is just communication of intent. So it doesn't really matter how your game feels. It doesn't really matter what your game feels, as long as when I'm playing it, I get the sense that you wanted me to feel that, you know? So it's like no one would ever make a requirement on a movie to say that a good movie makes you feel this emotion. That's not a thing. It's just like, did it make you feel that emotion, and did you feel like you were supposed to feel that emotion?
It challenges you to think also and do an introspective. So about the indie community, I would say that we do have, nowadays, a lot of modern AAA games that do have their own basic successful formula that kind of leeches money from people, and it is successful. But I think that indie games are the ones who are still, partaking in creativity or innovations, and at least, to see something maybe new or fresh or something old, but that's put in another perspective. So what do you think about the current state, since you also produce your games, work with students, work with other game devs? What is it like now, for example, for European standards, the state of games? Do you think that indies are also, here to just put it out there for the creative ones? Or is it a bad question? I don't know.
It's not a bad question. It's
more of a philosophical topic.
No, well, it's more just like the thing about the games market is that it's extremely saturated. And so I would never speak bad about other indies, and I would never speak bad about the games industry in general. But what I would say is that
there are some issues.
What exists is that there's always been a core of good games and good game developers. And what has happened is it is not, in my opinion, that somehow that's been lost. What has happened is that the games industry has grown around that, and there's kind of this like exoskeleton of like cruft, right? So you get all of the kind of shovelware, all the Steam Greenlight games, there's lots of indie games that are uninspired. So the AAA and the indie, it's not really a matter of budget. It's more just a matter of there's so many games. It's like,
and a lot of more people and users that are different than the usual ones.
It's like just because Hollywood's shoveling out crap, it doesn't mean that you can't go to like a film festival and find a good movie. The same thing is true of games, and I think a lot of indies, and I certainly fall into this trap too, a lot of game developers, right? They fall into the trap of comparing themselves to other things. But if you're comparing yourself to other things, then there's not really, like, I don't understand why you're really making games then. Because unless you're making a game to make yourself, and I don't mean just like emotions, like, you know, like warm fuzzy. I mean like satisfy thing. For me, challenge. I love challenge. I love the creativity and the challenge together. But whatever your thing is, when you're making games, you're just making games to satisfy that thing. And if you're not making games, if you're not creating a product for the reason that you want that product to exist, then I feel like you're wasting your time. And so there will always be an ocean of people not doing that. But there will always be a select group of people doing that. And all you have to do is just search that out. If you search that out, you'll find it.
That's a hot topic, because it's always funny to see that people are striving to be successful, or not in the usual, you know, the capitalist way. What makes you happy? What kind of fuels you to continue? So good luck with you know, expanding the Kaizo community in Croatia, since there are a lot of, you know, discrepancies. There are a lot of, you know, older gamers. I wouldn't say older, you know, people at over the age of 30.
Yeah.
It's young. We're still young.
Have you looked at Twitch streamers before?
Yeah.
We're all old.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's yeah.
Do you like Twitch in the state of its now, or do you have your favorite streamers, since the community is, your community is, you know, very chatty and supportive, right? And
extremely chatty.
Fun to be around.
Yeah. I got a guy. So part of what I'm known for, I guess.
You did some big stuff.
I did some stuff. So yeah, so I'm sort of known for getting into Kaizo on the ground floor, but I'm also known for, you know, in the speedrunning community, in the hardcore platforming community, I'm known for working on a game, a ROM hack of Mario mod called Hacker's Dreams, and Hacker's Dreams is, according to most people, I think I can confidently say it's the hardest platformer mod or game ever made that can be beaten without cheating. And so right now, what's happened, this is very recent that it's come out. It's been in development for a long time. This game, all of the playtesters were world record Mario holder, you know, like they professional platformers. I had 10 testers. One person was able to beat it. It took them 300 hours. The game has come out. All of the for a long time there was kind of like all of the top Twitch streamers, because, you know, that's part of the ecosystem. They were all kind of like hesitant to touch it, like who's going to touch it first. And I've been very blessed that a couple of really cool people, Third Wall, shout outs to Third Wall, shout outs to JCSII, Twitch TV/Third Wall, Twitch TV/JCSII. They've been playing it, and a shout out to Flipspad, the first person to beat it. Right now, this person has been playing this game for 8 hours. No, not 8 hours, probably like more like 4 or 5, something like that. Between 5 and 8. I'm not sure the exact length of his streams, honestly, because they're very long streams. Every day, he's up to 90 hours on it. He's beaten 7 levels. So he's 7 levels in, and it's 90 hours. So like you can imagine a professional Mario player, and he spent 30 hours on 1 level. So you can imagine what that looks like. But yeah, they're super supportive. Yeah, they're super supportive, and like the crazy thing about it is that there's an audience for it. If you, on paper, if you told someone, okay, someone's going to go and they're going to turn on their camera and they're going to play the same 30 seconds of level for 4 hours, no one's going to, you'd say no one will watch that. Yeah. That is not a marketable activity. And yet, that is exactly what happens. I mean, some of these people are partners, and, you know, some of these people are ambassadors. Like it's popular. No,
it's cute. Yeah, it's cute that kind of evolve from, you know, the basic game, Save the Princess, into something
because they support
chaotic.
Yeah, they support each other. Like if you go into any of those communities, everybody knows each other. The chats all know each other, and so like it's it's a very community-driven event. So when you finally see that clear, I mean, it's like a football goal. It's like it's literally like a football goal. Everybody goes crazy. It's, you know, because it's that build up. It's that slow build up, and so like, you know,
and you know it's hard, and you know it's difficult to achieve.
And you're watching the person. Yeah, I mean, we can play some. I can send you some clips of some of the most quality Twitch clips you'll ever see are people either beating a level or almost beating a level.
Yeah, because I would cry. I mean, it's the usual, you know, out of frustration and happiness and relaxation, and maybe that hope one day. Yeah. I'm hoping, but yeah, it's fun. I like it a lot. So, what about when you I don't know, not behave, but do you have some, you know, advices or stuff you want to speak about to the viewers about if they want to begin playing KCO? Like, what should they do? What's the beginning? Is there a point, or is there a point of no return once you go there? You just kind of.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's the ultimate. Is it
a rabbit hole?
What?
Is it a rabbit hole or more of an authority situation?
It's the rabbit hole of all rabbit holes. And so, and really the whole point of it, at least my style of design, is very focused on basically maximizing the amount of bandwidth between the computer and your brain, trying to shove as much information down the pipe as possible. So like after you play,
is it the adrenaline rush?
The adrenaline, your nerves will be shot, but it's a good feel. It's a good feeling in my opinion. I like it.
You're alive.
Yeah, you're alive. But I would say if you want to, all right, I'm gonna have to meme a little bit here and say the first thing that you're gonna do if you want to play Kaizo, you should go to ROM Hack Races. They're probably the best place because it's a fun community, and if you play it and you stream yourself playing it, even if you're not very good, there's a good chance that they'll simulcast you. Yeah, they'll simulcast you. You'll get viewers if you're into that kind of thing, but you shouldn't be playing it for that reason. But you know, it's a very supportive community. But I would say these in terms of tools, because tools are important for these things. First thing, and now I get to be controversial to the Kaizo community. I say first thing, Mario's meant to be played on a keyboard, and I know that sounds weird, but you need to understand if you have 4 buttons for each finger, you're going to be able to do more. If your finger is doing this for 4 buttons, you're not going to be able to. You're just not. Like,
is it the sticky fingers? You know,
it's not just the sticky fingers. It's like there's certain moves. If you think about it, like you're not going to be able to. Right. So you really want to start on either a hitbox or keyboard because you want to build the muscle memory there. If you're doing this, you're going to get good, and then you're going to be SOL.
You're gonna
you
won't break that point.
I mean, people get through it, but it's in my opinion a disadvantage. Second thing, emulator choice. You're going to want to go with ZSNES. ZSNES is the king of emulators. There's a lot of great things about ZSNES that no other emulator has. I'll plug my own things and go into it because it's a very long rant. But ZSNES is the king of emulators, and SNES, SNES 9X is garbage, and BSNES is garbage, and so is Higgin, and so is trying to think of any others. BizHawk, RetroArch, they're all trash, is what I'm trying to say. So you need to go and get ZSNES, preferably the version of ZSNES that I built that Fasoya built, that I modified to have some extra features. So the Fasoya plus Anon version of ZSNES is what you want to go for. And the other ones are trash, and don't let anyone convince you otherwise. All right, I'm glad I got that in. They're going to be...
Yeah, I'm still at the part, you know, build muscle memory.
Build muscle memory on a keyboard and play on ZSNES.
A good emulator, yeah.
On the ZSNES emulator is what you want. You want the ZSNES emulator. It's the king of emulators.
And then you'll have fun.
And then you'll have fun. Yeah, and then you'll have fun.
Cry.
Learn to shell jump. Play some Kaizo light hacks. Don't be afraid to save state. There was a very dirty history of save states, meaning quick saves. You know, in a game when you save in the middle of the level.
Okay.
There's a long history of basically people, you know, turning their nose up at that because it's like, you know, you're cheating.
Yeah, it's like what? Then you pause at the same
yeah,
place.
Putting saves where the game didn't give you one. Cheating. But the thing is that that's the best way to learn. So if you're new, save state like crazy, and just use less save states as you get better. Like, I think that's the way to do it. You know.
And good luck to them all. I mean,
good luck to them all.
Practice makes perfect.
It's extremely rewarding. It's extremely rewarding, and it's not as punishing. If you watch it, it'll look punishing. If you play it, it won't be, because the whole point of it, the thing that's crazy about Kaizo, if you go onto these things, it says ASMR. You're like, how is this? This guy's playing a level for 30 hours ASMR, what? But the thing is that you will no longer register death as losing anymore, because it will be so fast, it will turn around so quickly that all you'll be thinking about is like, oh, I made a little bit of progress. Oh, I made a little bit of progress. Oh, I made a little bit of progress. You will forget the fact that you're going over and over and over, and it will just turn into like, you know, like knitting or something, where you're just like repeating this process, but really you're playing the hardest thing that exists.
Good. That's why, you know, I wanted to say practice makes better, not perfect. That's a stupid, silly phrase that we should, you know, abolish.
Yeah.
What about your relaxing parts of being in Zagreb? Do you have a special place to eat, to hang out with people somewhere? Yeah. Either is it a vicinity of your home or workplace?
Yeah. So yeah, I started a game dev club here in Zagreb, which is pretty small, but it's growing slowly. And it's not just quite game development. It's more like game show and tell. So the point of the club is to,
like, what? I present you my baby.
I present you this cool game that I found that has, like, you know, 30 downloads on Steam and nobody's ever heard of it before. And this game looks cool. And so the
show me your baby.
Yeah. Show me. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just
memeable. I can't.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, it's what it is.
It's cute.
It's just show and tell. And so what we like to do is we show up there. And the fun of the club is that you're not gonna go to the club and then find out that, you know, it's like a Smash tourney and you don't play Smash and everyone plays Smash and then you're bummed out. Or you go out and you find out that it's like COD or something, you know, it's the CS, you know, and everybody knows CS. It's like the point of the club. Give me something that nobody's seen before. And so the result of that, we host it every Friday at Street Food DBZ, and the result of it is that
what, you eat burgers and you chat with other people?
Yeah, we eat burgers. It's, in my opinion, the best American style burger in Zagreb. It's really good food, and I'm not being paid to say that. I ate there one time and was like, this is where this club is going to be hosted. So yeah, we do it every time, and so far we've played a lot of really cool games that not a lot of people have seen. So yeah. Let's
talk about the controversial topics about food here. Yeah. Since I think this year has been also Burger Fest held in Zagreb, which a lot of burger stuff, and what is it, the USA kind of a mom for burgers, you know, what's stemmed from there? Or what would you say? Do we have good burgers here, or is it DBZ for you? Even though does it have, you know, the Dragon Ball Z? I don't know if there's Goku, Vegeta, or someone.
They're named after it.
Yeah.
But
because I'm walking past by, I've never been inside to eat, just to, you know, buy water.
Yeah. No, they got great. I mean, they got great burgers.
They
got great burgers. I think that. Yeah, I mean, Croatian food is very different from American food. There's a lot of things that are different.
How do you manage it? Are you you know, accustomed to our climate?
There's one thing that kills me. And the thing that kills me is that not only do you not have root beer.
Oh.
Not only do you not have root beer, my experience is that most Croatians or Europeans have either never tasted it or don't even know that it exists. They don't even know what it is. So, like, you know, again, it's a bit of a meme, but like,
I think this will be the most controversial.
This will be the most controversial. This will be the most controversial thing
on the whole show.
So to explain to someone who's never had root beer before, root beer is to Coca-Cola as Coca-Cola is to water. So that's the way that I would describe root beer. It's not beer. I can't explain the flavors.
Is it sugar? What is it?
It's sarsaparilla, which is a root which does not grow in Europe. But it's the way I would describe it is take the flavor differential. Start with water, go to root beer, or start with water, go to Coca-Cola. Now do that again, and now you're at root beer. And so you can't imagine that unless you've tasted it. But
I only tasted, Dr. Pepper and.
I hate Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, thank you. It's awful.
Dr. Pepper sucks.
I'm sorry, guys.
Dr. Pepper sucks. Sorry.
Yeah, there's been the American store for drinking, and stuff, and that's where I tried out most of your flavory, sugary stuff. But I don't think I've seen root beer, right?
They have a root beer there. I shouldn't say that.
Cut
that out of the interview. Cut that out of the interview. Because they already don't have enough of it. And I buy all of it. So cut that out. I know. Don't tell them where to buy it.
I think we're good with Coca-Cola, Fanta, or Sky Cola, and other.
No, man. It's so
Cocktail.
much.
I'm sorry, guys.
No, I mean, it's obviously, there's a reason that Americans have the problems that they do,
so do we. Don't worry. Every country.
Well, no. So there's a reason that Americans have the dietary problems that they do, and root beer is a non-zero contributing factor to that for sure. But
worry not.
But I still, you know what? I'm addicted to the serotonin that gets released in my brain when I drink the sugary drink.
Do you drink it also while you're playing, Casey, or working on some new levels or constructing stuff?
No, I usually I try to. I'm a person who works 8 hours a day on a computer and then goes and teaches. So when I'm eating, I try to make it a point to either cook for myself or to go out to eat occasionally.
Because there's still some prejudice about the gamers and our food habits or drinking habits and stuff.
I made a full Thanksgiving roast turkey.
It's Thanksgiving. Is it past this date or?
It was past. Yeah, it was last Thursday.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So what about the future plans? We have some few minutes left. So do you want to speak about your future plans, ideas of work?
Yeah. So it may not make sense to people because this is definitely a general purpose interview, so it won't make sense to a lot of people. But I've been really doing Kaizo and that kind of stuff my whole life. I was hand-me-down a Super Nintendo and an NES. Before I could walk, was drawing Mario levels before I was able to type on a computer, and then learned how to do that, and I've been doing it this entire time. So. I went to school, I learned topology and things like that, which helped me kind of with my level design skills. If you're a level designer, learn topology, by the way. Very helpful. Did all of that stuff, and now kind of what I'm looking at after finishing this almost decade-long kind of project to make the hardest game ever made.
That's a long journey.
Long journey. That's finally done now, and I'm getting to watch people do that, and it's very exciting. The next thing for me is I'm making a commercial indie game that's I'm basically going all in on. So I'm not pulling any stops. It's going to have a prog rock album that plays throughout, custom prog album, long duration. It's going to have hand-drawn, like professional looking levels. The game looks like concept art, like every single level completely hand-drawn. It's going to have a level editor. It's going to have all of sorts of these things in it. And the aim of this game is essentially to lower the skill floor of Kaizo and to set the ceiling into the stratosphere. So this new game is called Impulse, and I will be showing it
Soon.
Very soon. Probably the first quarter of next year. And that game will be a commercial game, and I'm enlisting all of, people who've been making hard levels for years and years and years, some of them like a decade. And I'm taking all of the best level designers I know, all of the best people that I know, and I'm putting them on this project. And so it won't be a game for everyone. I don't expect that everyone will beat it, but
exciting news.
It will be something.
Yeah. Thank you for your time, Nathan. This is the end of our today's show. Thanks everyone for watching. We're gonna put on our YouTube channel more details about Nathan, your work, or even the Casio stuff if you're interested in it. So thank you again for watching, and see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you. See ya. Bye.